who will be taking us through Relax and Create today. And with that, I'll hand it over to you, Jackie.
All right, great. So thank you so much for coming. Welcome to Relax and Create. So if you are interested, I do have my contact information here. And there's some awesome meditation music you can listen to if you just YouTube meditation positive energy. So you can have some background music going for yourself. So today we're going to create a Zentangle. So Zentangles are a series of lines that are done and repeated, and then as you create more and more, it makes a bigger design. So I just want to show you what we're going to be working on today. So this is the piece for today. I know it looks very intricate and overwhelming, but it's actually just a series of very simple lines repeated over and over again. So the goal during this, take deep breaths, let your mind really concentrate on what you're doing. You can let go of your to-do list, your worries for the day, and just focus on this task for the next 25 to 30 minutes. So everyone should have something to write with and a piece of paper. So I'll just clear my piece of paper off here. Okay, so you can use the entire piece of paper if you'd like. I think it's a little bit easier if you start smaller, and then you can always grow your pieces. So I'm just going to draw like a square rectangle that's about 1/4 of the size of a regular sheet of paper. Right, it doesn't have to be perfect. It'll just be our boundary for our design. And what we're going to start off with, there's some squiggle lines. You'll soon find that this entire pattern is a lot of squiggle lines. So you can do any design to start with, and we're going to build off of it. So if it doesn't look exactly like mine, that is okay. I'd recommend putting a little point in the center, and then that way we can connect 2 squiggle lines to it. So you just put a dot in the center, and then we're just going to do some squiggle lines that reach out towards the corners. So this entire piece is going to be lines and dots. So you're going to break up each line with some dots. You can spread them evenly or unevenly. If you do them evenly, your pattern will be a little bit more symmetrical. If you don't, then it'll be asymmetrical. So totally up to you. So once you have these dots throughout your line, we are then going to connect them. So we're going to start in the center, and we're going to do 4 connecting lines on each side. So it's going to end up looking like a bundle of thread or lines. So you're going to follow along with the line you drew. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's one side of the bundle. Now we can go to the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now you have one full bundle. Okay, so then we're going to move down to the next and connect that dot to the other dot that you've drawn along the line. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, don't forget to breathe as you're drawing these lines. If you accidentally draw 5 on one side, that's okay. You could do just series of 3 if it's easier. All right, so now we have these little bundles that are moving along. So we're going to continue creating them on the other side of the line. And as you draw each line, again, you can breathe in and out and in. And as you reach your edge, you can either have it connect to the point at the end, or you can have it go off the page. So I'll have this one go off the page, so just follow it along. 3 and 4. So once you complete drawing all of your little bundles along this line, we're just going to repeat that pattern over and over. So we can draw some more squiggle lines out from the center and into our corners. So that's exactly how we began. Once again, we can draw some dots along our line. There we go. And then we're going to connect them again. So you can start, I like starting at the center and working my way out. You could start wherever is comfortable for you. And again, breathing in and out with each line. And you're just following the contour of each line and going back to the starting point. All right, we can go back to the other side. And this one kind of goes off the page again. So I'll just follow the line. So now we have an X of our squiggles. From here, you guessed it, we're going to draw some more squiggly lines stemming from the center. And then again, we'll draw some dots along this. You can make them all the same, or once again, you can have them different. And you can pick any line to begin. Again, just make sure you're breathing. When you get to the points that go off the end, just leave them kind of hanging there so we can imagine that they're going further. And at this point too, you might find that you're running into other lines. Instead of overlapping them, you can let the line that you're drawing just kind of disappear behind the one that's already there. This is another one's going off the page. And if you have any questions, again, feel free to just put them in the chat. I can respond to them for you. And again, this one's just kind of bumping into the lines I've already drawn. So I'm just going to end it at the point of the other line so it looks like it's going behind it. So it kind of starts looking like an octopus with all the legs popping out. And slowly but surely we'll fill all of the white spaces in. All right, and then once all those bundles are completed, we're again going to do some more squiggly lines. So your space is going to fill up differently than mine depending on how big you're making your bundles, also how big your square is, and what you're drawing with. Sometimes markers are a little bit thicker. Okay, and just, you got the idea, just drawing some dots. And then once they all have dots, you're going to just fill them in again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just make sure you're breathing and your hand is relaxed. We're not gripping our pen super tight. If your lines bump into each other, they overlap, it's okay. And you're going to notice that there's still some white spaces. We'll go back for them. So just continue doing your pattern, and then we'll worry about the little spaces that are left at the end. And you'll notice that they really start bumping into each other, all these lines. That's great because we want them to eventually fill up this whole space. And the best part is at this point, you really don't even have to be watching what I'm doing. Just focus on your own pattern as it's emerging. And everyone's will be a little bit different depending on how you drew those squiggle lines in the beginning and as we went along. Just a simple reminder to keep breathing. All right. So that next layer is done. So you guessed it, we're going to do some more squiggle lines. You can keep coming from the center, or if your center is kind of crowded like mine is over here, it can come from the side. So we're just going to continue filling in these spaces as we move around. If the space is too small, that's okay. We'll return to it. So I'm going to leave these guys blank. Okay, and then the same thing once again. We're just going to draw some lines. If the line is too short for a dot, that's okay. We can just make that one its own little bundle, or you can put a dot and then have the bundle go on either side. All right, and then take your time and you can slowly continue with the bundles. And again, if it's the dot in the middle, then you can just kind of imagine where the lines were going to, if we did when they're on the edge. And at this point, all your lines should really be bumping into each other. Right, and we should really be filling all those spaces in. And if you notice, it actually starts making a really pretty pattern. If you have all of your points coming from the center, it almost looks like a big flower. All right, so I'll just give everyone a moment to kind of get where I'm at. Like I said, if your space that you're drawing in is a little bit bigger, you just might have a little bit, need a little bit more time to fill more of the white in because you're working with the bigger space. Or if you have really thick crayons or markers, sometimes that can make the space fill in a little bit faster. All right, and then for all these little spaces that we have left, so this one's big enough where I could probably put another little bundle in there. So let me do that, and then I'll show you how to do these little spaces. So I'll just pretend the bundle's coming from over there. Okay, so you have these little spaces that are in between everything. So you have a couple options. Most of these lines, if you notice, they're starting in the center and then they're moving out towards the corners. So you can pick a direction that a bundle's already going in and fill it in that way. So for example, for this space, it's moving this way off the lines. So I'm just gonna add a couple more lines that fill the space in. And for here, since this is all between a bunch of different little sets of bundles, I could have some go this way. Maybe I'd have the rest follow this bundle over here. So it's really up to you, but just kind of keep the lines going the same direction. If you did them horizontally against the direction of all the other lines, it actually could make a very cool pattern if you want to continue doing that the whole way. But if you go with the direction of the lines, it actually looks like layers of thread. So it depends on what look you're going for. So for this one, I'll just follow along with these little bundle lines. So you're just gonna eye your paper and kind of see where it needs to be filled in. If it looks like it's totally filled in, you can take a big step back, see if there's any white spaces that are kind of popping out at you. Right, you can always fill this in using a bunch of different directional lines, right? So they're all going this way, but I went sideways following one bundle and then the other. Here's a little tiny space. We'll just follow along with one of the lines. And don't worry too much if you make a line that's the wrong direction and it looks a little funny to you initially. There's so much going on in these Zentangles that when you take a big step back, you're able to look at the big picture instead of focusing on each individual line. So I'm just still slowly moving around, finding all the blank spaces. There we go, and just filling them in. If your hand's getting a little tired, just take a break, roll your wrist out, and then try not to hold your pencil or pen too tightly. Just keep your hand nice and relaxed. When we tend to really be concentrating, we kind of lose sight of our breathing, and our arms and our hands become very tense. So just take nice deep breaths. Acknowledge if there's any tightness anywhere. Shake it out, let it go, and come back to filling in your Zentangle. Right, I have a couple more bits left. All right, and then I like to take again a nice big step back, maybe a stretch. Look down, check out what you created. See if there's any little spots that are popping out at you. This one's kind of got a big white spot. Fill in some lines there. Right, and when you feel like you are in a good stopping place, you can put your pen down, acknowledge your work, check it out. And I hope this helped everyone feel calm and collected for today. A moment out of kind of the crazy, hectic schedules for you to just concentrate, be in the moment, and let that creativity flow. So thank you so much for joining me. If you are interested in more of my artwork, I am on Instagram at wanderingartist.com. If you have some questions, you can always contact me at email address.